The Steelers' next move has been leaked. And quite frankly, folks, this changes everything for the Pittsburgh Steelers as we have a ton of new updates to go over today, specifically surrounding their next coaching hires. We now have a ton of information, but not only that, some very unique and interesting details have leaked surrounding this topic. We're going to break down all of that and more. Trust me, you're going to want to stay tuned till the very end of the video. But before we get into it all, quick thank you for all the support throughout the regular season. And now that the playoffs are over, we can focus on the coaching hire and also more moves that are going to be coming. They need a wide receiver, ton of different things. You're going to want to stay tuned for all of that. But let's dive into a couple different things that have dropped. And we have a lot of information to go over today. And let's start with, there's a ton of things here. Let's start with kind of an overview. So they have put in a ton of interview requests, and there's even more than what you're seeing here, which we'll dive into. But they have done a ton of requests already. So Nathan Scheelhaase, Chris Shula, Anthony Weaver, Brian Flores, Jesse Minter, all these guys, just to name a few of them. And there's some very interesting details that have started to emerge surrounding specifically these coaches, but some information has just leaked surrounding what their next move is going to be. But before we get into that, folks, I do want to let you guys know, and a quick reminder, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. And if you download it using the link below and enter code DIGESTNFL, you'll get $20 when you trade your first 100. And Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. We're on their platform, and on their platform, you can trade yes or no on real-life events, sports, election, news, pretty much everything. And whether you're in California, whether you're in Texas, or anywhere else across the country, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. And for sports fans, you can trade on game outcomes, playoff chances, or player performances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. And you can even see here, you can trade yes or no on who you think is going to be the Steelers' next head coach. Right now, Chris Shula is at 36%, so you can trade yes and win some money. And folks, is genuinely a smarter way to use your sports and news knowledge. You can close positions whenever you want. So make sure to download Kalshi with the link in the description, and don't forget to use promo code DIGESTNFL. Yes, code DIGESTNFL for your $20 bonus. And thank you once again to Kalshi for sponsoring this video. Let's dive right into the topic today. So we can look here. So again, Nathan Scheelhaase and Chris Shula, both of these guys are on the Rams, who are still in the playoffs. And this is huge news. They're wasting absolutely no time. And all these things started to leak following Art Rooney II's today, his interview, basically in the press conference, talking about how they are willing to do whatever it takes. They're not going to bring back the same coaching staff. It's all up to the head coach. And then Omar Khan, is going to be the one kind of taking the spearhead on this. But let's start with this here. So with the Steelers requesting an interview with Nate Scheelhaase, I wouldn't be surprised, even if he doesn't get the head coaching job, that the organization will try to push their new coach to bring him in as their OC. Even if it's for a short stint, bringing in what many around the league believe is the next bright offensive mind of the NFL. It helps set the standard of the offense for years to come. Let's start with Nate. So Nathan is a very highly regarded mind, especially in the NFL, as an offensive, mind here. And if the Steelers want to, bring him in as an offensive coordinator, I would love that, to be quite honest with you. Now, if they bring in Chris Shula and Nate, you're basically stealing some of the, Rams coaching staff. And that's, of course, a part of the highly regarded Sean McVay tree of his coaching tree. I love this idea. And to be honest, I love most of the names that are being thrown out here. I'm higher on some than others. We're going to dive into one name in a minute, which is a little bit wild. But Chris Shula, I love what he's doing with the Rams. Their defense looks pretty solid. Not as crazy as I thought it would look this year. But again, he is a wizard defensively. And if you bring in Nathan Scheelhaase as a specifically offensive coordinator, that would be an absolutely genius move. Now, there is also another name I'm going to dive into in a minute. Here's a little bit tidbit. It's Robert Saleh. But regarding Chris Shula, I think he makes the most sense. And like Kalshi has here, most people predict him, and the market is kind of dictating him to be the favorite, right? And there's obviously Brian Flores, who we'll dive into in a minute, who I also love. But any of these top three, I'm perfectly fine with. Chris, Brian, and Nathan, I'm fine with every single one of them. And Brian Flores, of course, currently the Vikings defensive coordinator. He's been, rumored a ton of times for head coaches in multiple different teams, has a ton of experience as a coach in this league. He would fit this team really well. And to be honest, he would probably reminds me a little bit of, just kind of what this Steelers culture is. Reminds me of Mike Tomlin a little bit as well, defensive-minded guy. I don't hate it, right? I don't hate them, especially if they want to go with a more this team's always going to be, I think, known as a defensive, minded team. The question is, Who do you guys want out of these guys? For me, Chris Shula is probably the number one, priority out of these lists. And you can see here, it has been confirmed by Albert Breer that Rams DC is one of the names I heard about a month ago. And then it was confirmed later from Adam Schefter that he is officially getting an opportunity. But you can see Steelers fans are saying, I need it. And people are kind of starting to wonder, why are Steelers fans so high on Chris Shula? He's just a wizard, right? He's a mastermind defensively, would bring in, I think offensively as well, but I would trust him to hire a great coaching staff around him, and I trust him to lead this team going forward. He's a younger guy, not super young, not as young as, of course, Nathan Scheelhaas. Also, I think I'm pronouncing that right. I think there's different ways to pronounce it. I'm going to go Scheelhaas. But either way, unbelievable list of coaches here. I'm really happy they aren't going with Arthur Smith and promoting Arthur Smith. Now, you guys might not be as excited as I am about this because at the end of the day, it is just, of course, a list of players. But there was a rumbling about Robert Saleh, and this is from Benjamin Albright, and he goes on to basically say, I don't really have a ton to add to this from days ago, but the Pittsburgh gig is open. What I will add is, as the Browns do have their eyes open on some young offensive guys, add Shula to the Dolphins, but he also mentions Pittsburgh. As I previously mentioned, Robert Saleh will get a look here. Now, he hasn't been named as one of the favorites, but this is super notable. And you can see here from Jack Sperry, Ben is very plugged into the coaching market, links Robert Saleh to the Steelers here. Pittsburgh doesn't traditionally hire, head coaches that have been around a bunch, but Saleh fits Pittsburgh's mold of a high-energy leader of men, is one of the best DCs in the game, and has some kick-ass OC connections working inside Kyle Shanahan's circle. So Robert Saleh would be, I don't want to say a dream come true. I think he would be a very, very solid option. Now, he did coach in the past, wasn't great as a head coach. We'll have to see. I'm curious to see what you guys think about Robert Saleh versus these names. I think the consensus right now is kind of Chris Shula as that main, number one option. I love Brian Flores as well. A couple of the other guys are okay, like Anthony Weaver. Sure, they're going to obviously give him a look. But, you look at guys even like Brian Flores, unbelievable defensively, like literally led the Vikings this season, and they didn't make the playoffs, to one of the best, if not the best defense in the NFL behind the Texans. He's done a great job in Minnesota. If he comes over to the Steelers, maybe he can unlock something defensively with this team that we haven't seen. And maybe he'll be able to come out and actually be, the guy that's going to follow Mike Tomlin's footsteps a little bit. And Tomlin's not coming back. So it is very, very exciting. And at the end of the day here, the names aren't super surprising, especially ones linking the Steelers to the Rams. They've obviously, and we've heard rumblings about that in the past. You can see here from Nick Farabaugh, the insider, Pittsburgh has admired the McVay/Shanahan trees from afar now. I'm not surprised they're dipping into that pool to start. We'll have to see what happens. But Nate Scheelhaas, in ways, would be the offensive version of the Mike Tomlin hire, which is true. And Tomlin was around for almost 2 decades, and he's the young, up-and-coming guy. Of course, way back when they hired Tomlin, he was the young and up-and-coming defensive mind. Nate Scheelhaas is the up-and-coming offensive mind. So it would make some sense. Let me know down below what you guys think about it. Again, the market's kind of dictating a bunch of different things. You see Mike McDaniel, Daniel, Clint Kubiak. Arthur Smith, who we know isn't going to be now at this point because Art Rooney said they're not going to be going from within. So very exciting things. Let me know down below what your thoughts are. It's getting crazy, and we'll keep you up to date every step of the way as usual. You guys are absolute beasts of the support. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys later. Cheers.